What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. In this episode, we are very privileged to be joined by captain of our AFLW team, Steph. How you going? Thank you for joining us today.
No worries, sweet. Pumped for it.
How you been? What's been happening?
Yeah, good. Not much really. I've just been cruising, enjoying this nicer weather. And yeah, training tonight, head to Adelaide tomorrow, and yeah, take on the Crows. So mind is fully football at the moment.
And what's the vibe like after that very classic Collingwood close win last week to taking on the Crows now?
Yeah, it's been really good. We've done a bit of a review of the game, as you do. I think we shot ourselves in the foot early on, kicking 1 goal 6. Pretty typical of us this season. So a lot of goal kicking on the cards this week. But look, I thought when we played our best footy and we moved the ball how we wanted to move it, I think that's up there with some of the best teams in the comp. So, we just focus on what we did do well in that game. We know that we can take it up to the best, and that's sort of what we're taking into training tonight and then moving into Adelaide. It's actually a main session tonight, which is weird. We don't usually do a main session on a Thursday, but because of the quick turnaround, we've had to shift the week. So, it'll be interesting. But yeah, vibes are up. We've got absolutely nothing to lose. We're the underdogs, which we love.
Yeah.
So I say, let's go.
So we versed Adelaide earlier on in the year and was a pretty close game. I think we lost by 4 or 5 sort of points. Do you guys take much out of what happened earlier in the season to now? Because it's only been like 6-7 weeks or so, but it's a whole different ball game at the moment.
Yeah, it is. I think we do, because there's only so much you can shift throughout the season. There's only so many things you can change. Like, I know for us, at that point in time when we played Adelaide, our ball movement was pretty stunted. I think we had a few girls that didn't play that game that are playing on the weekend. So, that creates a bit of excitement, because I think we've really developed our game from then, and we've got players to come in and play different roles. I think it was Ash Brazz's first game back. So obviously she was naturally, getting used to the pace of the game. Joey Lynn didn't play in that game. So, there's some differences from that game, but we'll take a lot from it. We were able to keep it. I think we lost by 5 points.
Yep.
We had a chance late in the game to even steal the game. I think Ruba had 2 shots on goal. I had a snap late that would have drawn the game. So we had opportunities. We just didn't take them. And we sort of let couple of mids get off the chain a bit. So that's probably something we'll look at. I don't know what they're thinking tactically wise, but I'd say we'd probably have to put in a bit of work into your Hatchars and your Marinoffs, which we didn't really do on the day. So I think it's exciting. It's like we've got the blueprint. We just need to actually execute it.
No, 100%. And kind of touching on what you said before, the run and carry against the Doggies last week, I was at Vic Park, and it was really good to see. I think that's, like you said, we've grown throughout the season with that sort of run and carry, that transition. I think there was a Stacey Livingston hit a ball from the top of the defensive 50. I can't remember who she hit. Might have been Ash or something.
Raz. Yeah. It
was just like that sort of stuff. It's just typical. So that's what even the men are doing. That run out from half back, and we're doing that really well. That link up. How do you, with the forwards? How are you guys kind of trying to improve that? Because that's what we're kind of, in my opinion, it's pretty much our downfall at the moment.
Yeah, and that's something we've discussed throughout the season. And to your point about where we're playing, how we're playing now compared to the start, like we were winning games of footy early on, and to be quite frank, we were pretty unsatisfied as a group. It probably sounds weird because I think we'll be 5-1 or whatever we were at that point.
We had a good record, yeah.
Yeah, well, we were winning games of footy, but we felt like we weren't really hitting our potential in terms of our attacking play. And to be fair, we did focus a lot of our preseason on the defensive side. And I think that's shown with our pressure and our sort of our attack and our tackling. Like, we did a ton of that throughout the preseason, and to then work off that for our attack, but we probably neglected the attacking side. So that's something we've been focusing on in the last 6 weeks. So it's nice that it's come to fruition and you're starting to see it in play a little bit more, and just to be a bit more braver with our ball movement. And that gives our forwards an opportunity. I feel like they were starved of opportunities in the first 5 to 6 rounds. Our inside 50 count was really low. So we're probably going a bit too sideways and a bit too slow with our ball movement. And then you found against Brisbane, we're going way too quick. And we're trying to sort of fight fire with fire, and we didn't really get that balance. And I felt on the weekend we had that balance, especially in the first half, of when to go and when not to go. And that's sort of what we've been focusing on. And that'll definitely help our forwards. We had a new look forward line on the weekend as well. I think we played Chloe a little bit more forward. Obviously, Abby got a game as well. So, just having different looks there helps us out as well. But yeah, bloody tough for the forwards at times.
Yeah, no, 100%. And speaking of the forwards, I think it'd be pretty remiss of me not to mention Eliza James. 4 goals last week, the highest as an individual goal kicker in a finals, AFLW finals. So that's just, and she's only 19, right? That's
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. My little Cardi B. Yeah, so my little Cardi B is her nickname. She is. It's funny. I just spoke to the age about her. She is a competitor. Like, she's got this raw talent and a skill set that'll, separate her from others. Like, how many 19-year-olds can just, casually kick a check side from the boundary and just slot it? Like, that's not something you can really teach. So she's got that natural ability. But what I love most about her is her competitiveness, and she's got a bit of fire in her. So we talk about me getting pretty fired up and sort of flying the flag. She's an angry little unit, and I love that because she's really passionate about what she does, but she's the nicest kid. Like, she's just so humble. She just gets into the club, does her thing, and you give her a compliment and she goes, "Thank you." I'm like, "Well done, EJ. That was bloody great by you. Thank you, Chu." Like, she's just so, chilled. And but yeah, to come out, I think naivety, like when you're just naive and don't really know what to expect, and you just come out and play a final and you're relaxed, you play well. So I hope she never loses that. There'll be, there's been a lot of talk about her kicking 4 goals. I just hope that she just comes out this week and does what she does and breaks the lines and, shows her flair.
Yeah, and look, and on that too, we talk about touch on her being 19. Do you think this this 19-year-old comes in, kicks 4 goals at AFLW, plays a pretty good season. Do you think a 19-year-old, what is it now, 7-8 years ago when the AFLW starts, does that? Probably not, right?
Ooh. Well, probably not, because they would have been so raw.
Sorry,
Because
that's what I mean.
They haven't had
that training, that 7 years that we've built up the women girl football community. Bringing it. So that's what I meant. Yeah, bringing it on.
They're probably a dime. Like, they're probably just quite rare. Like, the ones off the top of my head that sort of had an immediate impact is your Chloe Malloys and your Mon Contis. Prasparkas ×2. Like, they were young kids coming in that could impact straight away, but they did have a football background. Whereas, there's some in that first year. Some of the girls were quite raw and hadn't played an elite level or represented Victoria or done anything like that in the pathway. So, yeah, it's probably, to your point, it's probably spot on. And, hopefully that's a sign of the future.
Yeah.
And things to come. But, yeah, she's got freakish ability. And I think she got omitted during the season, which, was a bit of a surprise to many people. And she took that in her stride, wanted to get better, and then here she is. So very happy for her.
We talk about you just mentioned the pathways and stuff and how far the AFLW has come in 7 seasons. Is that something that, we were watching the other day, you played your 50th game and Rubes, and Sophie Casey, as well, from season season 1. Is that something that you were like you started this, you were the original bunch? That's something that, it's nothing to kind of like scoff at. That's something to be so proud of, that all of this, you were there from the start. I knew, and obviously many other people, but
yeah, it's cool. And when you actually reflect on, like, 50 games for us is equivalent to 100 in the men's, in my opinion. And well, probably not in my opinion, probably true, because if you look at the numbers, like in our first season, we played 6 games in the first season. I was actually looking on the app, the AFL Women's app, the other day. I was just flicking through, and you can go through the results from season 1. I'm like, there's 4 games every weekend. That was it. There was 4 games because it was 8 teams. So there was 6 rounds, and we didn't make finals. So to make 50 games is pretty significant when you consider it. But I'm more excited for the fact that kids like your EJ, Tani Brown, Alana Porter, these girls coming through could play 100, 150 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's only going to get bigger and better and longer seasons, hopefully. So, you got I think Moy's, how old's Malloy? She's 23 and she's played close to 40 games, but she's missed a whole season. So, she's going to be playing in excess of 150 games.
That's it's
Which
so
is pretty
crazy.
bizarre.
And like you said, it's just so crazy to think because at the start you guys weren't playing a lot of games, and now we've got the potentials to we will have a Centurion play in the next few 4 or so years time. How is the going off to Adelaide? What kind of prep do you guys do? You said you got training tonight and you fly up tomorrow. Do you have do some sort of captain's run on Friday night up there or?
Yeah. So that's the plan. So, like I said, we shifted training this week. So tonight's our main session as such. Vibes will be up. We'll be short and sharp, I dare say. I can't see us doing too much. And then we fly out tomorrow. And so the playing squad and the two emergencies all fly out tomorrow, and we'll get there. We'll go to Unley Oval, so we'll get to have a look at that. I've never been there. I've never played there, so I don't think many of the girls have, if at all. So it'd be nice to sort of have a captain's run, a prep to play there. And that'll be just 45 minutes, tick the legs over, get a feel for it. Then back to the hotel, and we sort of have our team dinner, do our team meetings, and do our thing. It's nice to get away. I think getting away for us, like, it is a business trip, but it's sort of still that sort of school camp enjoyable sort of part as well. Like, I really enjoy getting around the girls. We've got a group of us that watch horror movies, so we've got like our horror movie club. So Jamie Lambert just sent me through a list of 8 and I've got to choose. So like, that's what we'll do. We'll relax tomorrow night, and some girls go for walks, some girls just chill out in their room, some just chat in the main area. Like, it's just whatever sort of works for you. And then wake up Saturday, bit of an activation walk, and then it's party time.
Yeah, but what's your favorite horror movie? Just quickly, so we can.
Oh, it's funny because I'm more a thriller girl, so I love like your Seven, Law-Abiding Citizen, those sort of movies. But what do we watch? The Night House is what we watched last time. Yeah, a few jumpy moments, like weird story. They're never good storylines, let's be honest. But we actually watched half of it and then we didn't finish it because it was like midnight. And then we watched the last half an hour in the Virgin Lounge on our laptops. And at one point, something happened. I squealed so loud, and like the whole Virgin Lounge turned. It was pretty funny. So yeah, I've got a list here. You can choose. Do you know any of these ones? I'll give you some.
Go on, give me.
We've got Demonic, Sinister, The Uninvited, which sounds good, The Loved Ones, Terrifier 2, Vacancy, You're Next. I'm guessing that's Ouija original. Origin. Wish Upon, No Good Deed, The Forest, The Tall Man. So they're the ones that we're going with. So if anyone wants to give us a tip.
That Terrifier 2, if that's the one that I'm thinking of, that's the one that was just released a couple of months ago.
Yeah, and people have left the cinemas.
Yeah, I don't like horror at all. I scream, I squeal, I can't do jump scares, but I kind of want to see that just to see if people are, they're saying people are passing out in the cinemas and stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of just need to see it now, just to.
Yeah, well, we were going to go see it on the weekend, but we couldn't find it. But the girls ended up seeing Barbarian, and apparently Joey Lynn nearly hit her head on the roof. She jumps, and Michaela Can had to cover her eyes. So I'll keep you posted. But yeah, that'll be us Friday night.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Look, let's talk about the other finals. And look, I guess the whole talk this last week since you guys had finished finals was the scheduling and stuff. And I don't want to really dwell too much upon it because it's such a you want to keep this pool positive and not really negative. But how does the club, or not sorry, the club, just the girls, how do you guys see it, and how do you guys try and go through all that sort of media?
Yeah, I mean, the boring answer would be we don't really talk about it. And that's, to be fair, true, because we're off to Adelaide. So I think, for us, that's a bit of the unknown. And I was talking to Ebony Marinoff throughout the week. I was like, oh, how many can that seat? And she's like, yeah, about 6,000, 7,000. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So, so we're just having a bit of a chat about that. I obviously was on RSN the other morning and got quoted because I got asked about it. And it's from a personal point of view. Personally, and I mean, I'm not in that position. We're not in the position where we're playing a home final.
Yeah.
But if we were, I would like to think that I would want to play at the best available ground with a stadium that can hold a substantial crowd. And I think Icon Park's the place for that, or Marvel.
Yeah.
In terms of the fixturing and the timing, I mean, the Matildas are on, the WBBL's on. It's not ideal,
Yeah.
But I do know that, we're not privy to some of the other ins and outs and the moving parts and the broadcast issues and things like that. So yeah, look, ideally it wouldn't clash and we'd be playing the game elsewhere, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
No, it's exactly. Look, I've got a bunch of questions from
I'm nervous.
Instagram, from Twitter,
Oh,
some
gosh.
some really good ones. All right, so we'll go from here. So Trenta0912 says, "What's the best trash talk you have heard on the ground?" And I guess a follow on from that is, who gives the best trash talk at the club? I feel like Rube's mom.
Rubes is good. Actually quite. She's very reserved. Oh gosh, I've heard some rippers. Emma Carney can really rip you. She's very, very good. Oh gosh, there's been some. I actually got a ripper on the weekend from, I think her name's Keely, number 22 from the Dogs. And to be fair, like she's a 17-year-old, so I was very impressed. So I snapped, I had a shot on goal, kicked it out on the full, that first snap, and she turned to me and she said, "Go on, celebrate the goal." And I was so shocked. You actually see me yapping, and I was like, "Who was that?" I go, 22. I go, "That was brilliant." I'm like, "Well done." But and she was new to the team, and we'd obviously scouted, but for some reason, and I didn't know her name.
Yeah,
Couldn't
yeah,
remember her
yeah.
name, and I actually wasn't being an ass about it. I was just like, "Sorry, what was your name again?" So yeah, so that was a good one. Respect to that. Who else did? Jamie Lambert loves dishing it out. Oh, gee, it's hard to think on the top of my head. There's been some good ones though. There's been
Yeah.
some really good ones. Yeah,
No, that's
Moy,
good.
Moy, Moy will give it back if she needs
Yeah,
to.
I feel like she would. I feel like she would
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Lockie says, if you had to start your football career over again, what would you do differently?
Oh, geez, Lockie, great question. Um, oh, I'd hit the gym a bit earlier, I think.
Yeah.
If we're talking AFLW
Yeah.
start or yeah,
Oh,
okay.
just yeah, just whatever sort of pathway you wanted to go on.
Okay. I started AFLW. I'd probably invest more time in the gym. I think I was a little bit worried about how my body would change, and I didn't really completely understand my body and how it would impact my football. And I know that it would have helped me with my back and my Achilles and things like that. But I probably would have piped up a little bit more in terms of our game plan and how we were playing in the first few seasons, and yeah, and sort of asked for a little bit more change. I think that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I just felt we were a little bit rigid in what we were doing. So that's probably something I would have changed.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Sirhan asks, how do you juggle work footy and your personal life and time management tips? I guess that's a big sticking point for most of the AFLW girls, where whether they're doing schooling or they're teachers like yourself or
Yeah.
paramedics or nurses or whatever that may be.
Yeah, great question. And I encourage you, it's not a promo, but I encourage you to watch Fearless, the doco, because
Yeah,
it
I have
does
been.
tap into a few
Fantastic.
that
Yeah.
yeah. So look, for me, I'm very fortunate. I'm a teacher. I worked full time for the first 3-4 seasons, and then just said I couldn't do it. It was too hard. I was exhausted, so I actually took some time off. I'm currently on leave without pay
Yeah.
for this season, so I literally have worked one term this year.
Yeah.
So I'm in a lucky position where I'm able to do that. In terms of balancing it all, like we've got Erica Fowler as a paramedic. We've got Imogen Barnett, who works in I think with the Royal Children's with, kids with cancer, and she's working long hours there. Stacker gets up at 4 and goes to, does her job in the factory. Jamie Lambert's the same. Soph Casey's the same. Like, we've got girls that are doing so many different things, and how they balance it, I have absolutely no idea now, to be honest, because
Yeah.
obviously our hours are in excess of 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
You just got to, honestly, it's as if you don't have a social life during your footy season. And especially with the pandemic, you couldn't really see anyone anyway. But
Yeah.
I feel like we're in our own little bubble, and it's really sad. Like, I try and see my friends or speak to my friends or catch up with people, but it is really hard. You end up just catching up with your footy mates,
Yeah.
and you're sort of in this bubble. But very fortunate that people understand that. It is hard. It's definitely hard, and because it's after hours as well. So some people work and then will have to go to training, and that limits your time that you can spend with loved ones.
100%.
Um, But yeah, it's a fine balance, but you definitely need to take some time out. Like on our days off, we're very lucky we get a couple of days off. I make sure that I will, see a mate, or I get a massage or do something. Mental health day is very, very important. Walk the dog and just, yeah. But I'm a yes person, and a lot of us say yes to doing a lot of things, but
Yeah.
I'm learning to say no. That's probably the balance.
And do you think that kind of changes in a couple of years when we move into, whatever it may be, 18 rounds, 22 rounds, more of a full time, as opposed to you're pretty much doing kind of part time hours at 20 something hours a week for a professional sport.
Yeah, definitely. It should change. It has to change. I think if we want to get the best out of ourselves as athletes, I say we, meaning probably not me because I won't be doing it, but these athletes deserve to commit fully to football. And I think you nailed it there. People forget that we're trying to play a professional game with semi-professional hours
Yeah.
and access, and training time and all those sorts of things. So it should get to that point where athletes can just choose to play footy 100% full time, and dedicate themselves to that. And that should free up some other time after hours and, a
Yeah.
really good balance. But yeah, it's hard at the moment. But, in saying that, they need to be fairly remunerated as well. Or
Yeah.
else,
100%.
you can't really be cutting your job.
Yeah, no, and I guess that's with the CBA that was agreed earlier on the season, and with four new teams coming in, it is you'd hope so. Like I think one of my main sticking points at the start of the season was that, and I think West Coast have been there for a couple of years and we still haven't played them. I think that's
Gold
what.
Coast. Yeah, we haven't played Gold Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the kind of things that you want to that you want as a professional league, you want in the next couple of years. Like, do you think a big sort of season happen? I don't think the CBA has got us.
No, we haven't
Not
discussed the CBA.
yet.
Yeah, we're still negotiating with the CBA, with the PA. It's just, yeah, it's pretty hectic at the moment with the
Yeah.
finals, and then obviously the boys are on annual leave technically, and yeah, so there's a bit to play out there. I mean, you just look at the fixture. Like I understand they've tried to make it as fair and equitable as possible, but like you mentioned, we haven't played the Gold Coast. We didn't play Port, we didn't play Hawthorn, these new team, which is fine. I understand how it all works, but other teams had a different run towards finals, and didn't play certain teams, and yeah, I mean, until you're playing everybody once, it's not. Yeah, there's there's no fix for that really, other than playing everybody once.
Yeah, exactly right. All right. Couple. So Miss Amy Ray, who you've definitely seen around at the grounds at Vic Park, holding the banner, and on Twitter, she asks, ice cream, chocolate, or cake? What is the best thing to bring to a Christmas lunch?
Well, if you bring ice cream, it's going to melt, so that's probably not wise. Ice cream, chocolate, or cake. We're Italian, and we usually have tiramisu, which is a cake. So I'm going to go with cake. That's traditional.
God, can you make a good tiramisu?
I cannot cook at all, Swoop. Not at all.
Come on.
My nonna is very disappointed in me. I'm not a very good cook at all.
I'm Maltese, and even I can make a good tiramisu.
No, wouldn't even know where to start. Coffee, biscuits, cream, mascarpone. I don't know. No. I just rock up and eat it.
That's the best to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Liam Cook asks, what made you want to wear the number 17?
Oh, thanks, Liam. That's a great question. So when I started playing at Diamond Creek, so my first ever season, I was 17 years old. And which kind of was coincidental, because they said to me, you get two choices, number 17 or number 14. And I remember speaking to my dad, good old Rob, and I said, which one, pup? And he goes, 17's a better footy number. I said, okay. And that was it. And the rest is history. Yeah. So I've just sort of stuck with it and made it my own. I really like odd numbers. I do everything with odd numbers, a bit quirky. Volume is on odd. Things are done in threes. Wow. Yeah, I'm a bit weird. So yeah, everything's odd for me. Yeah, no, you should see my alarm. I'm not going to show you my bedroom alarms. Like, they are nuts. Like, look at this. I don't know if you can see that. 13:43.
9:13. 11:31. What a 3:01. What random times?
Yeah. I know. Quirky.
Oh my God.
So yeah, but yeah, 17, odd number.
Nice. A couple more questions in regards to the pathways and stuff. Natalia asks, what can you recommend for younger kids wanting to make the AFLW?
Yeah. Okay. So simply just repetition, skills, fundamentals, and make sure you're enjoying what you're doing. If you don't enjoy it, it's very hard to succeed at anything, I believe. So depending on the age, I'm a true believer, and it might be the PE teacher in me, but just playing solely football is probably not going to cut it. Like, you go and play other sports, basketball, soccer, they all transition into football really well. So yeah, take your hand to a few sports, and then when you get to about 11, 12, 13, start to, zone in on footy and fundamentals, kicking, marking, handballing, ground balls, those sorts of things are definitely the biggest focus.
Yep.
Because endurance, fitness, endurance, strength, all those other things come with age and come with development. So yeah, fundamentals, and watch footy, love footy, understand it, and get involved.
No, beautiful. Look, and I want to end on this. It's not really a question, but this kind of sums up really my thoughts on the whole AFLW comp and what it means to people. Like, yeah, we'll just quickly touch on before I ask this thing. Pride round, the inclusivity, the equality. I don't have those sort of personal stories about that, but I know a lot of my friends do. A lot of people I talk to on social media do. A lot of AFLW players do too. And I think that that's one of the things that the AFLW does really right, and amazing. And building that sort of that community for that inclusiveness is probably second to none around Australia, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, it is. It's really important. And we're really proud to be representing, everybody in our community. I think we did it so well. I think our Pride round and all the Pride round, like all the teams that were involved, but our Pride round this year was exceptional. I had so much positive feedback from people, and reaching out on social media just with how the club conducted themselves and how we included everybody. And I think that's what makes it really special. And especially at Vic Park, where it's a community ground.
Yeah.
And the stories that have come out from there, in the past, whether it's being a source of energy and light for people who are probably less fortunate than us, and then people in our community that are the minority. Big Park's always held a really special place for them, and for us. And yeah, so have Indigenous round and Pride round, and to on the big stage in the AFLW, I think does set us apart. I truly do. People always feel safe and respected and accepted in our community, and that's really special.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. All right, so we'll end on this. Sean Makes App says, my daughter became interested in playing football because of the example you and the girls are setting. And
That's
I think
amazing.
that to me, that's probably the one of the biggest compliments that you can get.
Yeah, and it's so lovely to hear that. And even after the game on the weekend, there were there's so many people there, girls, boys, whoever, just watching and wanting your autograph and wanting photos, and face painted, and even adults. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's something. I think now that I'm getting older and I know that my career is sort of coming to an end, I'm sort of, what is it? I've got gratitude for those moments, and
Yeah.
I'm really making sure. And I always give myself to the people, and I always be around people and give my time, because I just love that component of it. And I know that it's so much bigger than us and me, but I'm really taking note of these moments now. And if I could just share a story,
Of course.
we were at Vic Park doing a captain's run about a month ago, and there was a young fella on the fence, because of the community ground, people are running their dogs around before we train. It is. There was a young fella with his footy and his mum. He would have been 8 or 9. I hope. Sorry, Pax, if you're a bit older, but he was just watching, and I said, "Buddy," and there was a few of us just doing like some rehab handballs, and I said, "Do you want to come handball with us?" So it was myself, Ruby, and I think Lauren Brazzali, and he's like, "Oh yeah." So anyway, he came on the ground, and we're just doing some handballs. What's your name? Yeah, Pax, cool, da da da. Anyway, first kid I saw when I walked out of the change rooms on Sunday was this bright-eyed Pax. And I was like, "Mate, how are you?" He's like, "Hey." I'm like, "Hey, guys, like, can you sign my footy?" I'm like, "Yeah, no worries." I don't think he was a Collingwood supporter, if I'm honest. I think he was
Yeah.
just at the ground. And he goes, "Oh, is Ruby there?" I say, "Yeah, she's just getting assessed. She's a bit banged up." He goes, can I say hi to her? I'm like, yeah, I'll get her, send her out. Anyway, I walked in. I go, hey, Rubes, remember that kid with the mullet? I go, Paxton. She goes, oh yeah. I go, he's waiting for you. She walks out, says hi to him. I said to her after, I go, how'd you go? She goes, Steph. I went up to him and I was like, Pax, mate, how are you? And he looked her in the eye and he goes, oh my God, you remembered my name.
Oh,
And I was like, I started tearing
oh,
up because I'm an
bloody hell!
emotional little
I'm
being. But
I was
like
a red
that's,
wall too.
I know. And I'm like that's an 8, 9, 10, however year old boy
Yeah,
looking up to female athletes. And I just like, I'm done. Like that's just, yeah, pretty
that's
special.
yeah, and yeah, that's amazing. Like, you know,
Mm.
it's incredible. Like I always say on Twitter, Ash Russell, to be able to do what she does, I look up to it, to be able to play professional netball at the Commonwealth Games, then come down to bloody Vic Park
Mm.
and play how she
The
plays.
wife and kids and
Yeah,
everything else going
it's
on.
just
Yeah, I don't know. She does it.
absolutely amazing. Steph, thank you so much for joining. It's
No
been
worries.
always a pleasure talking to you. Good luck against the Crows. Please just smash them. No one's heart can take another 3, 4, 5 point win.
Yeah, look, I don't know about that. I think we'd like to keep it tight. It's just the way it's a Collingwood way, isn't it?
Bloody hell. I wish it wasn't. I honestly
It's a
wish it
Collingwood
was.
way, but you know what? We'll take it. A win's a win, yeah?
The winter wins, exactly. Thank you so much, Steph. I appreciate
No
it.
worries.
Have a
Thanks
good
for
one.
having me. Thanks for your support as always. We
No,
do
no worries.
do appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you.
See, no
See ya.
worries.
Bye.
Bye.